Hey folks, good morning. Aaron here from WYRE, and I'm going to talk about why an MCP gateway or an AI control plane matters in a way that you can share with your customers. To start off, Tyler and I had a fantastic opportunity yesterday to talk with the folks over at the Chattanooga Founders Forum. So thanks to Jay Schaefer and Hudson Brock for that opportunity. It was a really great time to chat with other business leaders in Chattanooga who aren't in the IT space, but have very real needs when it comes to AI. And it, I think, was a great opportunity for us to really understand those problems and how everybody else is trying to leverage it. So, yeah, it was during our time yesterday that I realized, as the person who's mainly been building this thing for the last year, it's really easy for me to talk about things in very technical terms. What's MCP? What's a gateway? What's an AI control plane? And I think one of the things that started to catch my attention during that presentation we were giving is that we were kind of losing folks. Not in a bad way, right? But if you start throwing out technical terms and not relating those things back to something that people understand concretely, you start to lose folks, right? Like, they might understand it's important. They might understand the words that were coming out of our mouths, but they didn't really, I would say things didn't click. Which got me thinking, what's something that clicks for quite a lot of people, and that's plumbing and electricity. So usually you don't think about plumbing and electricity in your daily life. You don't think about the electrons flowing through the car right now, or when you're washing your face in the morning or taking a shower, you don't think about the path that the water travels through your house or apartment or condo. It's just kind of a foregone thing, right? It's so ever present in your daily life that the only time you really notice electricity and plumbing is when it's not working. So if you think about an AI control plane and you start taking it out of the technical jargon space and putting it into something that's more concrete, imagine you have a plumbing system where you can direct water to any place in the house. Or rather, think about it as all the pipes that are coming off of your main line, right? You've got a pipe that goes to probably a bathroom sink, a kitchen sink, maybe a shower or a bathtub, right? So all these pipes are going different places. Those are the connections in the gateway, right? Those are the spigots that you can turn on outside to water your yard or your garden or some plants. Those are the faucets in the house. You can fill up with water to boil pasta or something like that, which is great, right? In that context, cool. So I can direct where the water goes, right? But that's, that's a system that served us well for, hundreds of years for places that have had plumbing historically. But what if you could, instead of having a water meter that is just telling you all the water that's going into the house, what if you had a meter on each one of those taps or those faucets or those spigots. And imagine that they had some sort of way of determining that, like, oh, hey, this is dad. Dad can turn on every faucet. Or, oh, nope, this is a kid. Sure, they can turn on the bath and they can turn on the sink, but they can only turn it on so far, right? They can't put it on full blast and maybe fill up the bathtub or flood something, right? Or maybe you say, hey, yeah, if it's not mom or dad or a kid or family, let's just say the default is only people who are visiting the house, maybe, or maybe, you know, we have some cousins come over, that sort of thing. They can only turn the water on halfway. Now, I realize in practicality, who's going to turn water on to a dribble or whatever? Some people might, and that might be all they need. But so you get the idea. But then let's say, okay, so I can direct where the water goes. I can tell, at each faucet or spigot, maybe somebody has like a code or something that they can do to say, oh, hey, this is dad. I can do whatever I want. Or this is mom, or this is the kids, right? So you have some way of verifying that whoever's turning the water on is limited in what they can do. So that's cool. That's great. And then let's say we can see what they do, right? We can see when they turn the water on. Imagine if you're a nerd like me and you run Home Assistant, right? And you have a smart home and you have a system now hooked up to every spigot that or faucet that will say, oh, hey, dad came in at this time of the day and he turned the hot water on for this amount of time. So there you go. Now you have a way of determining who's done what. And then let's say that you now want to be able to say, hey, if the water has been on for a certain amount of time, let's stop it. Let's do something to make sure that, like, we don't actually flood it, right? So now I have like some safety mechanisms to make sure that any potential risks or threats get stopped before they do any damage. Because I don't want a flooded house. I really don't want to have to pay somebody to come clean up my mess. And then let's say on top of all that, I somehow have figured out a magical way for teaching people how to use the water that's coming out of the spigot. Like, I have some instructions about, hey, here's how you make ice, or here's how you boil the water. Or if you do boil water and you want to make pasta, here's the recipe for that. Or if you are going to take the water from the kitchen sink or from the outdoor spigot and you're going to try and wash your car, here's how you add soap to it. So where does all of this map back to an AI control plane? Well, okay, having the connection centralized in one place is plumbing, right? I have my spigots. Those are my data connections. The permissions are who can do what at what time, right? Who can do what with water, who can turn it on full blast, who can do it for how long. Those are the permissions. And then you think about, well, like the whole idea that I can see who turned the water on at what time. That's audit logging, right? So now I see who's doing what when. What about the, hey, let's automatically shut the water off after a certain amount of time? Think about that like threat detection, right? Evaluating things that are happening, patterns that are occurring within the gateway based on agent use, based on how your users are using it, that, if all of a sudden it seems like somebody's trying to do something untoward, we can stop it. Or at the very least, let somebody know, hey, something untoward is happening, let's take some action. And then last, if I'm giving you instructions on how to boil water or how to make ice or how to mix the water with other things to wash your car, those are skills, right? You think that's a skill. That's something that we're trying to teach the person who's using our water or our data or the tools, right? We're trying to teach the AI tools what to do. And so, yeah, I think it's a useful analogy. And as you who are watching and our MSP leaders are selling AI to your customers, specifically if you're selling anything like a gateway or like an AI control plane, you probably have some good analogies in place. But hopefully this is useful for you. And hopefully you're able to use that same analogy as you go out and you talk to other folks about why they might need an AI control plane or gateway. Anyways, yeah. So I hope you all have a good rest of your week. And if you have any questions about WYRE AI, Conduit as a gateway, you want to chat, hit me up on LinkedIn. Feel free to send an email to hello@wyre.ai. I see all of those, so you'll likely get a reply from me. But yeah, have a good rest of your day.